Well, I made it to Las Vegas. That was quite the experience. A little white knuckle driving. I think I pinched up a little seat cover in my butt on the way. I'm gonna pick that out later. But anyways, I'm gonna spend a couple days here, and hopefully the wind will die down before I have to head back to northern Utah on Sunday. And just gonna get a hotel for a night and get cleaned up, and probably start working on that turn signal switch. Well, I got my steering wheel off. There's a little harness for my turn signal switch. I just cut it for now, and I'm gonna just do a temporary, hook the wires up temporary right there, and when I get home I'll solder them nice and finish that. But here's the Chinese turn signal switch. Looks pretty good, but it ain't worth a damn. It's one of the wires came unsoldered. It's actually missing now, and that little copper contact is for your headlight high beams. So you're supposed to be able to pull the lever towards you, and it makes a temporary contact there, and latches a relay in the headlight, latches a headlight relay, and turns your high beams on. And it's such a cheesy setup that you hit a bump and your high beams come on. You hit a bump and they go off. Or you hit a bump and the turn signals come on. But it's just real poor quality. They never made an aftermarket one forever and ever. Of course, new old stock is probably impossible. But this is available, made in China. Got it from J-Bugs. They were kind enough to send me another one, but it's a twin. It's just another. I'm not even going to try to install it. It's just poor quality stuff. So here's the used one I got at the swap meet at Buses by the Bridge, which was awesome, by the way, this year. There was a lot of vendors there swapping Volkswagen parts and antiques and camping gear. This one's just so much better built. You can see the contacts there are spaced perfectly. It's made out of much heavier steel materials, and there aren't any wires that have come unsoldered. Unfortunately, the guy bought it from Cut, the harness, and that's all I got to work with. So I'll just have to splice it in, but I'm going to hook it up temporary and make sure it all works, and before I get it when I get home in the garage, I'll make it permanent. Well, hey there again. I just checked all my fluid levels and added a little bit of oil, and now I'm going to head out to Good Springs, Nevada, just about 30-40 minute drive south of here, and going to see the old welder up. I guess old Steve Darnell, he's moving out there. And if you follow his channel, he's got some really cool videos of he's fixing up the place, and he moved an old gas station out there, and I'm going to go out there and check it out. And no wind today. It's a nice day in Vegas, so I'll see you out there. So I'm heading out to Good Springs. I'm just going to stay on the old highway. I wanted to show you another problem that has crept up on this trip. Look down there. The old bungee cord on the gear shifter. She's starting to pop out of fourth gear a little bit. These transmissions, well, I think the guys that rebuild them, I bought this one rebuilt. Won't make that mistake again. I'm building an 091 right now for it. But they don't change out the components that make it pop out of gear, like the shift shaft rail and the detent balls. I think that's where the problem is. You know, you want to replace your sliders and your dogs and all of that too, but those shift rails wear out, and luckily they're available. So I've got all that new going into my new transmission, and should be finishing that up and putting it in. It looked like it's moved up to priority now that this is popping out of gear, but I'll get her done. There's the speedway. That's where you can go pay a ridiculous amount of money to go fairly fast in a cool car. Used to be one up on the north end of town, but it's not there anymore, but this one's open. Looks like a little bit smaller track, but you know, these old buses, you really don't want to go much past 65, 70, so I like to get on the 2 lanes or on the highways because you don't see nothing from the freeway but freeway, and you don't lose time really because you're not going that fast anyway. So I just like to get, and then you can stop if you need to, and you're not, you know, worried about getting run over, and you can stop and look at every little dirt hill and every little roadside attraction along the way. That's the way to see this country. We're cruising along at what, 65 miles an hour, and there's I-15. That's where all the accidents happen. So I'll get where I'm going just as fast on this old 2-lane highway. This is the best time of year to come out here and see this desert. You can really appreciate it. You know, you won't die out here. I think today it's maybe 55, 60 degrees, and that's warm compared to up north, northern Utah, where I come from. And gosh, these mountains are just beautiful, and you can run around them pretty good. There's a lot of dirt roads going here and there, and lots of old mines. And this time of year you can see them, but in the summertime it gets way too hot out here for me. So I sure like being out here in the desert in the wintertime. I'll go home and get a few things done in the shop. I got a 63 Chevy truck I'm restoring. I got to get a few things done on it. I rebuilt the rear end in my buddy's Suburban. Got to finish that up. And then I got to get the transmission done that's going to go back in this. So I'll go home for a couple weeks, and then I'll probably head out towards the end of February again. One last time. Down here, probably go to the Mesquite area, and then not too long after that, it'll start getting nice up north. I was thinking about something while I was here getting gas. You people running bay windows, especially early bays, the nut behind that hubcap, big 46 millimeter nut, that bugger's torqued to 425 foot-pounds, and it'll tend to come loose, especially on the early bays. So keep that thing checked once in a while, it'll leave you stranded. So I was down in Havasu and jacked mine up and checked mine, and one was a little loose. But that brings up another story. I was jacking it up by my engine cross member, and I cracked it. You can't see it, but so I had to take it off and took it to a guy there in Lake Havasu, Merlin. He's Merlin's Old School Garage. Nicest guy ever. I met him at the show, and he called me, or I called him, and he said, yeah, bring it over. He fixed it and bent it back and welded it, and wouldn't even think of charging me. So Merlin's Old School Garage. Look him up on YouTube. Hey. What in good Lord do we got going on out here? There's nothing out here in the middle of nowhere. This is the road to Goodsprings. Looks like we must have had somebody fall asleep and run off the road. I guess that's what happened. I don't know what else it could be. There's an ambulance, and there's the ambulance and a couple of state police cars. Oh my, they're working on somebody. Wow. Oh wow. A motorcycle. Man, I hope they're okay. They're working on them out there. Wow. That's too bad. I hope everything works out for them. Well, we're coming into Goodsprings. Little spit hole place, and they got water out here, hence the Goodsprings. And it's an old mining community. I don't know what they mined out here, but I think the best thing they had was the water. That was liquid gold. So there's a few people live out here. This Pioneer Saloon coming up. It's open. You can go in and get something to eat, get a burger, and Goodsprings General Store. I might have to stop there and get a fridge magnet. Then coming up here is this is the old welder up guy, old Steve Darnell. He's I think he's moving out here. He's got a really good YouTube video. He's pretty famous, and I've been watching him. And he moved that out here, that Signal garage. He moved that out of Vegas, off his property, I guess. Put up windmills, and he's actually using them to pump water out of the ground. And that's about all windmills are good for, is pumping water out of the ground. They're not very energy efficient for making electricity, but they sure make good. They sure turn and pump good water out of the ground. So anyways, I'm gonna stop here for a minute and take a couple pictures, and this place is really cool. I hope he don't mind that I got a Volkswagen sitting in front of his nice Ford garage. But I'm an old Ford guy too, so he shouldn't be too upset. I actually met him a couple of times, and back when I had some Model A stuff, and he's a nice guy. So, but man, look at this place. An old Ford 8N, 9N tractor. I got one of them. That's pretty cool. There's a Model A coupe. Looks like about a 30. And a B12. Out of who knows what. It didn't come in that. That guy came with a little bitty 4-banger. B12. What did they? Lincoln. I don't know. That's a cool motor. And he's got a. Looks like a Roadster pickup sitting in there. Might be a Model P. He's got some cool stuff. I love his sign. I love that sign. I want to build a sign like that. Hit and miss motor. I think all of this is part of a walking tour that you can do here in Goodsprings. And according to his website, I think he's going to build a big shop out here and start teaching some of his welder up, his fabricating skills. And I think you can even stay out here in one of these old buildings. I think he's going to turn all of these into little Airbnbs or something. But how cool. It's got another windmill over there. I think he's pumping water there too, or he's going to. And yeah, pretty cool place. Flying A service. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a 32 sitting up there, part of one. Must be nice to be able to just have cars set up on top of buildings and just straddled about. But it's very cool. I don't know if you can see that old sawmill looking blade thing there. I had one similar to that a few years ago, and it was a lot of them you would hook them to your car. The one I had was still attached to a 1933 Buick, and they had cut the whole back of the car off and left the front and the rear axle. Drove a blade about that big. Now I'm not sure how that one works, but I think that trough on the side was how you'd lay your log in there and you'd feed it in. You'd feed it into that wheel, but hell, I don't know what drove it. Probably big. There's probably a big leather strap on that wheel in the bottom and driven off of a, off a hub of a rear differential or something, I guess. Well, this place is cooler than the other side of the pillow. Steve Darnell's done a great job out here. Looks like he's cleaned it up and he's got a lot more work to do, and it was a pleasure to drive out here and see it. So come out here to Goodsprings and see this stuff, and it's really cool.